SIL told my ex with schizophrenia the time and location of my baby shower. Using a throwaway account as I don't want this to easily get back to my ex-boyfriend. All names were also changed. TLDR below. Trigger warning for schizophrenia. Mental health issues. This story needs a lot of background to fully grasp how severe everything is. So buckle in. My ex-boyfriend Jake, 27M, and I, 27F, broke up a few years ago. We had been together for over 5 years and were thinking about marriage and buying a house together. In the last year of our relationship, everything fell apart. Long story short, he had a sudden psychotic episode and was placed in a mental health ward. Mental health facility attached to hospital. This is in Australia, FYI. For his safety. Following this, his entire personality changed and he developed delusions, hallucinations and paranoia which never went away. A large part of his paranoia revolved around me controlling people around him and thinking I was trying to make him look crazy. He also constantly accused me of cheating on him and told me many times that he hated me. He was let out of the hospital after some time and I took responsibility for him. This change in him was heartbreaking. He was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia. I did everything I could to be there for him. I went to all of his mental health appointments and stayed up at night to make sure he didn't leave the house alone. He was prone to wandering out at night when experiencing psychosis. Things became too much for me to handle. He became angry and his paranoia about me made it impossible to help him. He didn't trust me to be close to him, but at the same time he didn't want me to leave his sight as he was convinced I was cheating. When he seemed to be doing a little better mentally, I broke up with him. I waited until I felt he would be okay on his own and helped organize for him to move back in with his parents. I was filled with guilt for that decision. But it was the right choice for me. I was struggling. For months I received no love and was used as an emotional punching bag. I did my best. He wasn't the same person anymore and his resentment for me was intense. Obviously, this isn't the full breakdown of his mental health issues, as a lot of the things he went through are very personal. I never blamed him for what happened. But I needed to be happy and did what I needed to. It was a messy breakup, but it went better than expected. We kept talking for a little while as friends. I think the entire time we kept contact he assumed we would get back together at some point. I continued helping him when I could. When I started a new relationship with my current partner Sam, 30M, Jake had a really bad psychotic episode and threatened both of us. He accused me of cheating on him with Sam before we broke up. Which makes no sense, as I met Sam after we had broken up and sent both of us intense messages. I managed to contact Jake's family, who got him the help he needed. Following this, I cut all contact with Jake. It was obvious that we couldn't maintain a friendship anymore. The only slight connection I have to Jake is my brother's girlfriend Jess, 29F. Her and Jake have been friends for years and have maintained their friendship. She knows the entire background to our relationship and never chose sides. I would say I am close with her. We have always been friendly. It always made me happy to know that Jake still had a good friend to confide in. Shift forward to March 2022. I got pregnant with Sam's baby in January and was 3 months pregnant. I had just told my family and close friends about the pregnancy. I told everyone to keep it quiet as I didn't feel ready to publicly announce it. I was incredibly emotional, nauseous and in no state to deal with any potential fallout at that point. Less than 24 hours passed after telling my side of the family and I received a phone call from Jake. He had found out I was pregnant and left a voicemail saying he would be filing for custody of the baby? Obviously, he was in a psychotic episode, so I ignored his calls and let his family know that he had reached out to me. By this point it had been over a year since we had even spoken. He has no idea where I live or work, so I'm not worried about him showing up physically to confront me. I knew the only way he could have found out would have been through Jess. I called and confronted her about it, and she admitted to it. She was extremely apologetic and said she didn't think it would matter. She thought he would be fine with the news and said he deserved to know. I was upset by this. But I hadn't explicitly told her not to tell Jake, so it could have just been a mistake. Even though I told her to tell no one, I bit my tongue to keep the peace. I forgave her but made it very clear that she shouldn't tell Jake any more information about me or the baby, and she agreed it wouldn't ever happen again. I didn't hear anything from Jake for months. Last weekend was my baby shower. Sam and I had the baby shower together. It was more of a party than a traditional baby shower. We hired a function room at a bar and invited 80 people to come celebrate. We were all having a great time until I saw Jake standing at the bar, looking around. I managed to slip away without him seeing me and grabbed security to get him escorted out. The area had been roped off for us as a private function, so I simply told them he hadn't been invited. I watched as security approached him and asked him to leave. He was furious and started yelling, demanding to talk to me before he would leave. Sam and several friends went over to him to try and talk him down, but it only escalated. He screamed at Sam, claimed that he was the baby's real dad and that we had never really broken up. At this point I left to hide in the ladies' room until my mom came to let me know Jake was gone. He had eventually left after a little more screaming. I was mortified and we cut the baby shower short. I couldn't stop crying. It's now been a few days and I confronted Jess. She is the only person who would have possibly told him the location and time of the baby shower. I wasn't as kind on the phone with her this time. She admitted to telling him and apologized, but said, "How could I keep this a secret from him?" I was furious and told her that she would no longer receive any news about me or the baby and that I would cut her out of my life. I'm not proud of it, but I screamed at her. I couldn't believe how irresponsible she had been. It wasn't her news to share. My brother called me after and asked me to forgive her. He knew she was wrong, but he didn't think he should also be punished for what she had done. He knew that by cutting her out I also wouldn't be telling him any news about the baby. In part he thought I should blame Jake for his reaction and not Jess. That she hadn't known he would show up. The damage was already done and I should let it go. I honestly don't blame Jake for what happened. He is mentally ill and needs help. It's not his fault, and I know he will regret all of this when he comes back to a more clear head. I told his family what had happened and they told me he was readmitted to the mental health ward. He had threatened to harm himself if he wasn't allowed to see my baby. Regardless of whether I think he is at fault, I definitely don't feel safe with Jake now. I have a child to think about, and him thinking it is somehow his is pretty scary. I haven't budged with Jess or my brother. My family all think I should forgive her so my brother can meet his niece, nephew. We don't know the sex. But I just can't trust her. She already broke my trust once and I'm furious. I could have been hurt if Jake had confronted me at the shower. So many things could have gone wrong. I don't know what to do. I'm heartbroken that my brother may not get to meet this baby for a while. But I'm scared that she could tell Jake information about the baby that could put us in danger. My parents and other family members have all agreed not to tell Jess or my brother any information about the baby upon threat of also being cut out. I just don't know how long I can feasibly cut them out before I crack. Sam is obviously on my side with all of this. If it wasn't for him I would be in a much worse state. Any advice would be appreciated. I'm finding it hard to stick to my guns on this and worry that news will leak to Jess from other family members. My parents were particularly hesitant to promise not to tell my brother when the baby is born. TLDR. My sister-in-law told my ex with schizophrenia the location and time of my baby shower. Even though she has already had one warning and has been told not to tell him anything. My ex somehow thinks the baby is his. I decided to cut SIL out after this event but need advice. How can I keep her cut out when it means pushing my own brother away? Nope. No sympathy for the SIL at all. I think you did and are doing the right thing. And would not budge in any way. What a reckless thing to do. She's lucky he just screamed and left. If I was your brother, I'd be screaming at her too. Insane. I'm so sorry you are going through this. I feel bad for you and your partner. And also for Jake, as he is obviously struggling mentally to hold on. Jess, on the other hand, needs to be permanently cut off. What she is doing is putting not only you and your baby in immediate danger, but she is also putting Jake in danger of himself. She is purposely triggering his weaknesses. And I'm not sure if she thinks this is a game or not. But it's flat out evil of her. His family needs to know about her and her toxicity if they want to help Jake. Your sister-in-law is the mental one. He deserves to know. I couldn't keep it a secret from some person that's not part of your life. And never will be again? Why on earth would this person deserve to know anything? WTF is wrong with her train of thought and rationality? Why does she even talk to him at all? She deserves to be cut off. She can't be trusted clearly, as she's proven twice in a short period that she's an idiot. I'd cut her out too. She seems like an awful person. Stick to your guns. Jess will tell Jake everything again and put you and the baby at risk. You are right, Jake is a prisoner of his mental illness. The issue is SIL. But said, how could I keep this a secret from him? She is going to tell him everything. Tell brother Jess put your life in danger twice. It is not going to happen a third time. What your family has to understand and what might also help you stick to your guns if you remind yourself of it is that this is not about forgiveness. It's about trust. That person has broken your trust not once, but twice. And she did not simply do something that you asked her not to do. She put you and your immediate family in danger. Because either she didn't care or because of a lack of judgment or both. Either way, you may forgive her or not. But that doesn't change the fact that you understandably see it as necessary to cut her out. Because you can't trust her on a fundamental level. I don't really see what else you could possibly do. Let's be real. You could have been seriously hurt and your unborn baby could have been seriously hurt or worse. This is not about punishment or pushing away. This is about ensuring the well-being and safety of your child. Which is your number one priority now as the baby's mother. Your child comes first. Jess has made it clear that there is something very, very wrong with her perspective and that she can't be trusted. First, she showed bad judgment by telling Jake about the baby. Second, she broke her promise to you and showed reckless disregard for safety when she told him the location WTF of your shower. Third, even after all that she revealed, she somehow thinks Jake is entitled to know personal details about his ex. Just WTF. So she will likely do it again. Edit. Just to be clear that below, I am not telling Op to actually forgive Jess. That's Op's business whether she ever does or not. I am just saying make it a non-issue so they can't derail this into some kind of hurt feelings drama. Keep the focus on what matters. When dealing with your family and brother, I'd suggest you emphasize that you do forgive Jess and you're not punishing anyone. But none of that is relevant to the fact that you're choosing to protect your child. When she made the decision to tell a schizophrenic with active delusions about you where you were. Okay, so she somehow thought it would turn out just peachy. That's fine. You accept she thought that. But You are not going to put that kind of decision about your child's safety in her hands again. How can I keep her cut out when it means pushing my own brother away? Simple. Your baby will be a helpless newborn who couldn't survive if you and Sam don't protect and provide for her. At the moment, she's a helpless fetus 100% reliant on you. Your brother is an independent adult who can stand on his own 2 feet. There's no contest, your child comes first. Jess could get you or your baby killed. Let that sink in. What she did was pure evil. She played Russian roulette with your lives. Jess is fully aware that Jake is mentally ill. Yet she still put you in danger. I don't think you are taking this seriously enough. The woman is pure evil. Her actions are dangerous, disrespectful, disgusting and reprehensible. Keep your family safe. This is a harrowing story and your compassion for Jake is commendable. The behavior of Jess makes no sense. What explanation did she give for telling him he deserved to know? Is no reason. It just does make sense. It's easy to just damn her and call it a stupid decision, but people do things for reasons. There must be more to it than this. Your brother should be addressing this with his wife too, not just with you. Stick to your guns on this. You are talking about the safety of not only you, but your unborn child and your partner. She was warned not to do it and went against this because she apparently knew better. She didn't, and she can no longer be trusted. That is for her to reconcile with and not you. This is her fault down to the last, so keep her at arm's length. Remember, your ex is a danger. Your SIL is in his camp and she can and will betray you and your family if given the chance again. Do not give her that chance. Listen. Ask your family when they will finally realize what your SIL did is endangering you and your child? When your ex strangles you. When he kidnaps the baby. When he kills the father of the baby in his delusions. When will it be dangerous enough for them to realize your SIL is a brain-dead idiot that clearly thinks more of the ex than you? Your brother isn't even keeping you safe? She not only hurt you, but she hurt a mentally unstable man who is already in the middle of a horrific illness. I hope her tits fall off. I think you are doing the right thing. You have to put your safety above everything else and your child. I would also look to get a restraining order against your ex. I really don't understand Jess's logic in feeding him any information about you. Who knows if it was just about the baby? She's probably been doing this since you've been broken up. Possibly the reason why Jake knew you were dating Sam too. I am so sorry this is happening to you. I would never trust her again, tbh. I'm surprised your brother isn't taking time away from her. So your choice is to tell your brother and Jess everything, making them responsible for harming Jake, you, Sam and the baby. In reply to those people that are finding it hard, explain that giving Jess the information puts her in a position of keeping secrets, which is unfair on her since she feels so strongly that a mentally unwell man should be tortured and made more unwell by feeding information about his ex whom he is obsessed with to him. Like eating in front of a starving man. She is actively behaving as if she was his rescuer, yet is actively causing him pain. Does she exhibit any other sadistic tendencies? Or needing to rescue people that she has also put in harm's way? I wish I could take her to experience what she has done to Jake. He clearly is triggered badly by any information, which makes me think she is a sadist or somehow wildly jealous of you for being with him, that she likes to put you in harm's way. No one with any sense or empathy would do such a thing to their SIL or a friend. Imagine watching him melt down knowing you had caused this. Has she taken any responsibility for her actions? Does she understand that what she did put him back in care? And unstable? Not to mention the uncertainty of what he could have done to you and having him gatecrash and had to remove him. Does Jess enjoy ruining your events because something in this just don't feel right to me? Talk to your brother. Explain that you are doing this to protect him from having to be careful with his own wife as she isn't trustworthy and seems to be deliberately sabotaging by drip-feeding information to a clearly very unwell person. Only sadistic people would think that was okay, knowing the pain that Jake would have felt. You are doing this for Jake. For yourself and your child after all. You have to stand your ground and tell your family that the safety of you, your baby, and your husband comes before your brother or his GF's feelings. The fact that she betrayed your trust twice is mind-boggling. Especially since she seems to justify by saying that she couldn't keep it from him, and he deserves to know. There is no situation where he had any right to your information. Ever. And the fact that she thought otherwise on at least 2 occasions is alarming. The unfortunate truth is that, as long as your brother is with her, you probably can't trust either of them with information. Honestly, you'd probably be safest just avoiding situations where they're there, since the GF might invite him again. Make it clear to your family how outrageous it is that she is willing and risk harm to you and your baby because she can't refrain from telling your ex information. If they can't promise they won't tell your brother, then it's information they shouldn't receive either. You really need to stick to your guns on this one. Wait. So Jess saw how he acted at the shower while being removed, and she still thinks for some odd reason that he deserves to be involved in your life. It sounds like none of your family really understands how dangerous he could be in his current state of mind, which is actively being made worse by Jess supplying him with unnecessary information. SIL knew that he was gonna show up. Anything else is a lie. She deliberately put you and your baby in danger. This is what your brother needs to understand. SIL did this because she wanted to hurt you. The first time she can. Just barely. Plead ignorance, but this wasn't the first time. She wanted to hurt you. Whenever you feel yourself wavering, think of this. Jake kidnapping your baby, that he believes is his. Because your SIL just had to tell him where the birthday party was. Or what preschool he went to. Many horrible things can and will happen if you keep her in your life. Honestly, kidnapping is on the tame end of the spectrum of possibilities. Don't give an inch. Honestly, I don't believe that Jess had good intentions. I know we only got the details we need, so maybe I'm missing out on some info. But Jess is either the most naive person you've ever met, or she is delusional to believe that Jake deserves this information. It already sounded impossibly stupid of her to tell him anything in the first place. But then as soon as I read that she said he deserved to know, my hackles were all the way up. Please think hard about what she meant by that. Think about what she would have to believe, about you, about Jake, and about your baby, in order to think he deserves to know this. Only you can say for certain. But given the information we have, I can find no reason to believe this was innocent. I have a younger sister. If my significant other had endangered my sister and her child, twice, that person would not be in my life anymore. I don't care how long we've been together or what our relationship is like. Not all siblings have the same relationship. And I'm not saying you should expect or demand the same from your brother. But you're definitely not in the wrong for cutting them off until you can guarantee your safety in spite of this awful woman. I am so sorry this happened. Why does Jess thinks that Jake deserves to know everything about your life when you both have broken up and you have moved on with your life? What even was her thought process here? Neither does she care about you nor about Jake. If she really cared about Jake, she wouldn't have told him about the baby. She'd have known that this would make him more agitated, but she did it anyways. And that too Not once but twice. Jake needs help and Jess informing everything to Jake is clearly making it worse for him. Why is she even doing it? God. Jake could have hurt you or your baby during this whole time. Anything could have happened. She was aware of it. She does not deserve any forgiveness and you are right to cut ties with her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.